What's up, YouTube? I'm back, and today I'm into this onslaught of foldable devices that is to come in the next couple of weeks. As most of you know, the Motorola Razr 2019, as it's being called, was released today, February 6th. Personally, as much as I would like to get my hands on one, I haven't been able to just yet. But I am curious to put it through its paces, so to speak. When the pre-orders opened, it was a Sunday, I believe it was, and I just couldn't get to it. And by the next day, I think the window went from by release day to the 18th, then maybe a day later, the 25th, and now it's up to March 3rd. So there's a very high demand for this device. I guess it kind of works out though, because by the time I am able to get one, if the leaks happen to be true, the new Galaxy flip phone, the Galaxy Z Flip, as it's being called, should also be out, as they are saying that phone could come out as early as February 14th, a mere 3 days after after what they assume will be the announcement at Samsung Unpacked. That's February 11th. Now, I say it kind of works out because if it does go how I hope it does, I should be able to have both of them simultaneously to actually put those bad boys up against each other. I have my personal opinions on how I think such a battle, well, not really a battle, but such a comparison would go. Because based on the initial reviews of the Razr 2019, it's not that great. Or maybe it is. I say that because, again, I don't have one, but apparently it is exactly what most tech reviewers and techies in general thought it would be. A mid-range phone, subpar at that, with a high-end price. And I've read some reviews of some articles, seen some video reviews. Hell, today I even went as far as to hit up a few Verizon stores to see if any of them had them on display or even to purchase. They don't. I think you need to go through the Verizon website or the Motorola website. It doesn't appear to be physically in stores just yet. But based on what I've seen, what I've read, the phone is just that, a mediocre, overpriced, I won't say a hype machine, but it's pretty much a mid-tier phone. Most of us know it is $1,500, and I will never put a price on a piece of tech. You know, to each their own. I bought a $2,000 Galaxy Fold, and many wouldn't agree that I had done that. But this device, the Razr, from what I've seen, is $1,500 with specs even less powerful than last year's flagships. It really is just a mid-range device with the nostalgic quality to make it appeal to many who remember the original Razr phone. And I think that is its biggest selling point. I read that the battery lasts maybe 13 hours on. I don't know if I was standby or not, but they pretty much said with heavy use you will be charging that phone 2 to 3 times per day. The battery, it's 2,000 plus milliamp. I don't remember if it's 2,300 or 2,500 combined. People were saying a battery that small wouldn't last that long, and apparently they were right. Most flagship phones, or just most phones in general, have batteries upwards of 4,000 plus milliamps, and those get you through the day. Because these days phones are not just phones; they're media devices, they're mini computers. They're always connected, so they are constantly drawing power to keep these things going in the background. So when they had said that the Razr had such a small battery, I too was concerned, but I said, well, you know what? It does have two, and maybe the battery is optimized for what they expect the Razr to do, because they didn't expect it to be of flagship caliber. So I assume they didn't really expect people who were power users to particularly flock to the device for power usage, maybe as just a very fancy, expensive secondary device, which for someone like me it would be. I know where the phone stands as far as my needs, and it really would be just a showpiece, and an expensive showpiece as far as phones go, but a showpiece none the less. But I'm not trying to speak badly of the device. I'm just trying to just give you my opinions on what I assume the device to be, especially in comparison to other foldables that are out there. Because people, before it came out, the Razr phone, they heralded the device as the better foldable, and they were comparing it to the Galaxy Fold. And most people know how I feel about the Galaxy Fold. I own one. I've had one since day one, and I love the phone. I'm actually making this video on it. It has become my daily driver. It's always with me. But then again, I always carry 2 phones. But the Fold has become the secondary primary. It's always with me. At work, I have the Fold and my Note. On weekends, depending on what we're doing, I'll have the Fold and my Pixel, or the Fold and my iPhone. But all that is just to say the Fold doesn't stay. Because of all the devices I have, it is I won't say it's the most productive, but it has become the most used. Because there's much that it can do. The raw speed, the raw power, the screen, everything that the Fold can do, or all the phones can do, the Fold just does it that much better. And as always, it's a great conversational piece, because even now when I pull it out, people still don't know what it is. And before, I used to find that kind of amazing, but Samsung hasn't pushed any info. Samsung, truthfully, I haven't seen a single advertisement for the Galaxy Fold. So unless you're in the tech field, or whether as a reviewer or an enthusiast, you probably wouldn't know the phone even exists. Some Best Buys might have it on display. I think I saw one, and there's a few in my area. 2 of them in my area have it on display. It's not at any AT&T stores still. So if you don't know, you simply won't know. But all that to say, many speculate that the Razr would be the foldable device to get. That it would be better than the Fold. They preferred the Fold along the Z axis as opposed to the Y axis. Truth be told, they were just comfortable. I personally didn't understand why you would want a folding device that folds into not even a smaller device, just folds to be smaller. They claimed it fits in your pocket better, which in all truth it does. But that's it. I guess you could also argue that when you fold it closed, you have a way to protect your screen, which is also true. But I never saw the, well, I can't say I didn't see the appeal, because again, there's that nostalgic appeal as well. But the phone just, or not even just that one, but the fold along the Z axis just seemed unnecessary, I guess. Because when I think of a device that folds, the three that are out now, and well, I guess the Z Flip will be announced next week. So the four that will be readily available, providing you have the funds for it. The Galaxy Fold and the Huawei Mate X are phones that unfold or outfold into tablets, and that made so much more sense to me. You know, the ability to put a tablet in your pocket, and when you when you need to make a call or send a message, it can stay in its folded state and still allow you to do those quick interactions. And when you need something more visual space, a larger screen, or whatever the case might be, you could unfold into a tablet. That kind of convenience makes a lot of sense to me. Now the Z Flip, which I won't knock, and the Razr, which I also won't knock, just seems just like they're not really trying to reinvent the wheel. It just seems, oh, what's the word? I can't even think of the word right now. I hate when I have these brain farts, as they say. But it's a phone that folds into a smaller block, and they are charging, again, such a high premium. At least from what I've seen, the Z Flip should be $100 less than the Fold, and well, not the Fold, $100 less than the Razr, and just as powerful, or maybe a little, well, almost as powerful as the Galaxy Fold. It should have a Snapdragon 855 Plus chip. The American Fold, or the first Fold, has a regular 855. I know that they released a version specific to China, I think it was, and it's called the W something, I don't remember, but it's pretty much a Galaxy Fold with a slightly different shape. It's not, the corners aren't as round, they're more angled off. The gap between is a little smaller, and has a Snapdragon 855 Plus chip, so it's a little faster. But the Z Flip should have the 855 Plus chip, a large battery, a Samsung Infinity O display, and bendable glass. So it is definitely in flagship territory. I would say just as powerful as a S10 Plus, maybe even just as powerful as the upcoming S20 phones. only it folds. Now, again, the folding aspect is a big selling point to many, but at least with the Z Flip, it's not the only selling point. You really are getting a powerful device, and along with that powerful device, you're getting the bragging rights that your screen can fold down to protect itself. With the Razr, you aren't getting that. Yeah, you're getting your screen can fold down, and you're getting the nostalgic value to it if you have that nostalgia for the phone. But as far as the specs, and of course specs aren't everything, but for a higher premium than the Z Flip and most other high-end phones, whether it be the Note 10 or the iPhone 11 or Huawei P30 or what's it, Vivo X5s, all kinds of phones, you're paying a really high price for something that is not even in their ballpark. Now, I'm going to do the same thing, but at least I know what I'm getting into when I do it. I'm in for the nostalgia without question. I never thought that the Razr would be on par with my Galaxy Fold. No, I knew for a fact it was nowhere near it. It really is just to say, hey, look what I have. And then compare the build and the screen and all that to the Z Flip. I don't even see a reason to compare it to the Fold, though many tech reviewers probably will. Hell, some might even prefer it to the Fold, as many of them have said that the Galaxy Fold isn't practical, which makes no sense to me because I have one and it works great for me. It's very practical to me. They have said, oh, the extra step of having to unfold it to get to whatever you're trying to get to. To me, it's, if you've lived with phones your whole life, if you have a case or a case that has a flap on it, like many do, if you have any other foldable, the extra step of having to unfold the device isn't really much of a step at all. To me, it's a very, I won't say it's a stupid argument, but it seems like you're reaching. Flip phones have been around for a long time, and no one argued, oh, you have to flip it open when they compare it to a regular candy bar style phone. It was all their preference. Now with the Fold, do you have to unfold to use it? No. You really can use it one-handed. People complain about the small screen on the outside, but it does work. The Fold is practical enough to be used on a daily basis, and I think if people would have given it a try, or if they were able to give it a try, they would see how actually practical the device is. But people really seem to feel that having a regular candy bar shaped phone fold over on itself is the way of the future for future phones. And I guess it could be, but I personally don't see why you would prefer that. I mean, again, not just the cost, but the foldable tech drives the cost up. And if having to do that extra step is such an issue, well, you have to do it with every foldable phone. I'd rather, if I'm going to pay such a high premium for a device, that device does more than a non-foldable device would. I don't know if you understand me on that. If I have, let's say, an S11 or an S10 Plus 5G whatever the case might be. And then I have the option to get a Z Flip. The Z Flip really is just those flagships that can fold over on itself. It's not really adding much more than the folding aspect to an already powerful device. It's pretty much you're trying to teach an old dog new tricks. Aside from the fold over on to fold over, there's not really much else there. It's just your regular phone, or what has become the typical smartphone. Whereas devices like the Galaxy Fold and the Mate X, it's your regular phone that becomes a tablet. You've killed two birds with one phone. No longer do you need your Android tablet or your iPad with you. You have the phone that unfolds to a tablet, and most of these phones, at least the Huawei and the Fold, have the ability to go into a desktop mode if you attach it to a monitor, Bluetooth, and keyboard. Now, most people will say, "Oh, well, you don't walk around with those other peripherals," but there are devices on the market which are pretty much just a screen and a keyboard and a trackpad that you can add these devices to, and they don't cost as much as a laptop, but there's no actual computer components in them. And these high-end phones, the Fold, the S20s, a lot of stuff like that, a lot of these devices are more powerful than their more expensive laptop counterparts. So if you think about it from that point of view, if you use your device for everything that it can do, paying such a high premium for the top-end devices isn't really such a bad thing. I was reading an article today that said that the S20 Plus, the S20 Ultra, I think that's the name that they're going with, is going to be upwards of $1,400. If that's true, you would be able to get either an S20 Ultra 5G or a Galaxy Z Flip for the same price. And now, it's pretty obvious based on the leaked specs that the S20 Ultra 5G is the more powerful phone. Plus, it has 5G. The Z Flip has 4G. The Razr is nowhere even near any of those phones in terms of specs and speed and power and transform ability as far as hooking it up to a, well, you know what? Maybe you could hook it up to an external source, but I don't know how powerful or how useful it would be as a home PC, because it's not a very powerful chipset at all. And it comes with Android 9, not 10. It's Android 10 that has the desktop mode. It's not finished, but it is there. And Samsung phones with DeX. So it's things like that that I really begin to think about when I think about where the market is going and how foldable phones will change how we use our phones. Having it fold over on itself, I call that a gimmick. And I don't like to use the word gimmick, but it's really not changing the use case of the phone. Whereas the phones like the Fold and the Mate X, the Fold is for a purpose. To go from a small screen that could be used to a large tablet screen that's even more useful. To have your phone closed and just open, that is the extra step that would bother me if I was to be bothered by such things, because it really is just the same thing once it's open. I think they had a leaked video of the Z Flip, and it did have a different aspect ratio. It was really tall, and that's interesting. I remember the Xperia 1 was over like $900, and they said it was a really great phone. I've seen it. I didn't really get to play with it, but I've seen the phone. Very beautiful phone, and it had that same thin but tall aspect ratio. So I'm not mad. I think it's really cool. But yeah, that's all I'm seeing with these foldable phones that just flip over on them. So once they're closed, they are protected. That's true, and that's always a plus, especially since you can't, or you're not supposed to put a screen protector on them. But I won't say it doesn't make sense, because it is the way all of these phones are going. But I just don't think that, especially in the case of the Razr 2019, that the price justifies the purchase, because you aren't getting much more than a mid-tier device that can fold over on itself, and the fold doesn't really add anything practical to your mobile experience. And that's just my opinion on that. I do feel that the Z Flip, again, folds over. The fold doesn't really do anything, but at least aside from the ability to fold, it is a high-end, top-tier flagship device. That's not even a question. It's up there with the S10s. I do think that the S20s are more powerful. Again, they have leaked the specs, but we won't know how accurate they are until all of the devices are unveiled at Unpacked. But it does seem like those devices, at least in terms of the fold, the Z Flip and the S20s, those are the devices to look forward to. And if you are in the market for a foldable device, to be on that cutting edge, because make no mistake that that's where everything will be going. If the Galaxy Fold itself is not your cup of tea, which to many it is not, before you go jumping on the nostalgia bandwagon for the Razr phone, check out the Z Flip first. Because if it is going to be your daily device, because most people don't have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 devices, the Z Flip, though it doesn't look as nice as the Razr, because Razr does have that old school look and apparently that old school feel, it is cheaper than the Razr and a good 2 to 3 times more powerful than the Razr phone. So you can go with a mid-tier for more, or a top tier for less. And for most, that's not even a question. So that's all I have to say on that. I do look forward to Unpacked. I do look forward to having both the Razr 2019 and the Z Flip in hand. Again, I really don't feel that the Razr can compare to the Z Flip or the Galaxy Fold, but I would compare them anyway, just for my own reasons. I hope to share that with you guys as soon as I have them. I will be sure to make a video on it, so I guess you can look forward to that, I hope. Anyway, this is NG. The Razr 2019 and the Z Flip, this is what I'm into.